Despite no odds, rural Chinese continue to battle education. Growing up in a North Chinese village, I was constantly reminded of the weight on my shoulders. No one in our family has ever been truly successful. My relatives liked to say, "You must devote yourself to your studies so that you can leave behind this village and bring us honor." Because my village elementary school only went up to the second year, I had to transfer to a school in the neighborhood. In the neighboring village, my classmates and I would walk to school along a dirt road that would turn to mud at the first sight of rain and wade across the river between the two villages. Later, when I started middle school in the nearest township, I found shabby buildings, churned out administrator and bullying. My parents simply told me to buckle down. What else could I do? We had to rely on ourselves. From there, I tested into the country high school, then Beijing Normal University, where I studied for a PhD course before finally securing a job at a university in the eastern province of Zhejiang earlier this year. Now that I've reached the finish line, I've found myself reflecting on my trajectory as the rare rural Chinese success story. Reading books like Anata Noria Study of Class and American Family Life, I Equal Childhoods, and Robert D. Putnam's Study of Falling Upward Mobility, Our Kids. I increasingly see my experiences not as unique, but as the product of structural inequalities faced by so many disadvantaged children in China's education system. In recent years, a number of studies have all pointed toward the same conclusion. High-born homes no longer produce noble children. I update our Chinese proverb about the difficulties kids from poor backgrounds face climbing the social ladder in a 2016 study. For example, sociologist Wu Xiaogang found that rural students were outnumbered more than 4 to 1 by their urban peers at China's elite universities. Those who do make it complain of being marginalized and treated like losers. Given the longer odds rural students face, many outside observers have come to believe that people in the countryside no longer see the value in education, but my own experiences and subsequent research into rural families suggest the contrary. Parents and rural society as a whole continue to place a tremendous emphasis on education as a tool of social mobility, no matter how long the odds. When I was young, my family made an annual trip to my grandparents' graves. My father used to stand before their tombstones and swear to them that I'd stand hard and bring them glory. We were far from wealthy. My parents never rested on weekends. They only took days off when it rained. They were reluctant to buy new clothes and rarely cooked hot meals. preferred to eat pickled vegetables and steamed buns to save money, and they only fired up the wok when I came home from school on weekends. But they always handed over the money I needed for my schooling without a word. The value that rural parents such as mine all attribute to their children's education is part of a greater, deeply rooted cultural phenomenon in rural society. In the rural context, having a child who excels and their studies can grant parents faith and improve their social standing. For as long as I can remember, adults in the village where I grew up cared deeply about their kids' studies, and kids' academic achievements were an important topic of discussions at any adult gathering whose kids were excelling and whose were falling behind was common knowledge in the village. And spirit festival, celebration, or other family occasions, adults reproach any children with progress. Although rural children have a much harder time getting ahead than kids in the city, this unique culture meant that from a young age we all viewed studying hard as the greatest expression of filial piety, which pushed us to do as well as we could, carrying my family's expectations on my shoulders. I attempted to get the best possible results in every exam. My academic ability became a kind of social capital that could earn us the approval and respect of our neighbors. In interviews with families of rural children born after 2000, I found that many parents attribute a similar importance to their children's studies. What's more, as a result of their experiences of migrant work in the city, these parents have a more acute sense of the gaping divide between rural and urban living conditions than previous generations. As a result, compared to my own parents, they feel a greater sense of urgency when it comes to investing in their children's education. These parents use their own experiences as cautionary tales, telling their kids stories of migrant life to keep them engaged in their studies. Our parents' lives revolve around earning money. A 19-year-old boy from the central province of Henan, surnamed John, told me. But it's not just for the sake of it that money goes toward our education. John's parents first cultivated farmland in their hometown before switching to migrant work in the county seat. For a while, his mother slaughtered fish at a market in winter after handling fish in the cold all day. She had scratches and cuts all over her head, which he'd simply cover with bandage before returning to work. Though many people in the city looked down to our John's parents as babkids, all the couple wanted was for their kids to receive an education that would allow them to lead dignified lives. Although it's increasingly difficult for harbor boys homes to produce noble children. My research suggests rural families still see investing in education as a crucial strategy for social mobility and regaining a sense of control over their destiny. It is precisely this attitude that has given rise to a whole series of new social phenomena relating to education, such as Paido mothers, the extraordinary extracurricular tutoring craze, and even bribery to secure spots at better schools. Rural parents were willing to do what it takes to ensure a better education for their children, both boys and girls, in the hope that they would endure the same hardships that they themselves went through.